when we find ourselves in a difficult situation, facing something that's very challenging, the challenging circumstances are what they are. And knowing this information doesn't change the circumstances of the challenge. But at the same time, they also can change everything, because let's say, for example, someone else who isn't into music or doesn't like that kind of music at all could have been standing in the same place right next to me, and it wouldn't have been a thing for them at all. They wouldn't have even noticed the song, maybe. Now, we both have in almost identical circumstances in the moment, but our perspective and what those circumstances mean to us is completely different, and so our experience is completely different. So not sometimes. Our perspective, our perception is the most influential factor in determining, and I'm going to broaden this out a little, determining our quality of life in general. It sounds like an extreme thing to say, but it really is true. Right? There are some people who can get punched in the face and they'll just be like, and smile. I know a couple of people like that who are just so deeply, perpetually happy that nothing will wipe the smile off their face. And then you have someone on the other extreme who can win a $500 million lottery and find a reason to kvetch about it and to complain and to be miserable. If I give you two options, and this is all the information you have, option number one, get punched in the face. Option number two, win $500 million lottery. Which option are we going to choose? I think everyone's going to choose the lottery, right? Except for the masochist, maybe. Now, if I were to broaden this out and give you some more context and make things a little bit more complex, you can be a person who just got punched in the face and is still happy, or you can be a person who just won a $500 million lottery and is still miserable, and maybe even more miserable than before. Which one of those situations would you choose to be in?
Not this and not this.
Neither. Okay.
Like in the...
It's like a multiple choice test. See none of the above. Fair response. Right? The person who... Why is it that if I would say, would you want to be punched in the face, the answer is generally going to be no, because when you get punched in the face, it doesn't feel good afterwards. The issue is not the being punched in the face. The reason we don't want to be punched in the face is because the experience that results from it, technically, it's not the punch, it's the experience that results from the punch. If someone would say, would you like to win a $500 million lottery today? Most people are going to say, yeah. Why? Not because of winning the lottery, because of the experience that results from winning the lottery. So if someone has, now the experience really, I'm not saying that circumstances don't contribute to our experience. Obviously they do. But these two extreme examples illustrate how while our circumstances contribute towards our experience, the thing that determines what contribution the circumstances are going to make is our perception. It's our perspective. If someone just sees everything in a positive light, then everything is going to make a positive contribution towards their experience. If someone sees everything in a negative light, then everything is going to have a negative impact on their experience, because our experience is, let's say, a result or a product of, let's say, everything that comes into our experience, everything that enters in and becomes a part of our experience, then the quality of that experience is determined by all of those things. Our circumstances have to pass through and be filtered by our perception and our perspective before they reach our experience. So our perception and our perspective is the thing that actually decides what's going to enter into our experience as a result of these circumstances. Now, we can work on improving circumstances, and very often it's a good thing to do, but when we work on strengthening and elevating and improving our perception, our perspective, the benefit of that is 24/7, because if we increase our perspective, let's say if we can make our perspective 1% more positive, that means our experience 24/7 is 1% more positive the whole time. When good things happen, they're going to be even 1% more positive than the contribution it makes on our experience will be 1% more positive than it was before. When bad things happen, the contribution they make on our experience will be 1% more positive than before. That's 24/7, 1% more positive. 2%, 3%, 4%, the impact is enormous. And it affects everything. It affects us all the time. No matter what happens, it's going to be better for us. The impact on our experience, on our quality of life is going to be better if we have a more positive perspective than it would have been if we had a less positive perspective. So perspective, in a sense, is everything.